Unfiltered Romance Nights, the podcast where we dive into romance books, spill spoilers, talk spice, and chat with the voices that bring the book world to life. We are your hosts, Colleen.
And I'm Marjorie. Tonight, we're not just chatting between ourselves. We have the amazing author behind the Forbidden Romance for the fans. Let's give a warm welcome to Nyla K, author of Flipping Hot Fiction. Nyla K is a quirky world traveler with a sailor mouth and a filthy mind. She writes the dark and the dirty, but most importantly, unique romantic fiction. Her smutty and taboo love stories are not for the faint of heart, so beware. Nyla, welcome to the Unfiltered Romance Night podcast, and we're so excited to have you.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yay, this is going to be fun. I can feel it.
Yeah, it is. It's a blast.
So grab your drink, settle in, and let's get unfiltered with Nyla K. First off, congratulations on the re-release of For the Fans.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited about it. Oh my goodness, this book is beautiful. It just looks amazing on the shelves and in all the pictures. Yep, there it is. Gorgeous.
Yeah. So before we deep dive into your book, we like to kind of start with a few icebreaker questions.
Okay. So did you always want to be a writer, or is this something that just kind of snuck up on you?
It definitely snuck up on me. I would say it's probably the definition of sneaking up on me, other than the fact that I've always been really good at writing. And it's like, that's been where my sort of skill set lies, is in, writing and editing and those sorts of things. But I never knew that I was going to be specifically a writer of fiction. I do have a journalism degree. I have a print journalism degree. So I kind of had thought for a while that I wanted to be like some sort of magazine writer, a la Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City. That was kind of like the dream, like for a while, like when I was going in college and stuff like that. But then I graduated and was like, that's like not really practical. I mean, like you can do that, but there weren't just jobs like lined up waiting for me. So I started doing just other things. And then I ended up moving to New York City. And I got back into reading again. I got back into reading romance again for after a while of not reading it. And all of a sudden I just like had all this extra time, like riding, the subways and stuff like that. And like story ideas just started coming to me. And I was like, I could write something. Like I could do that. It's never like I never was going to do that. I didn't plan to, but I was like, I could just write out these, story ideas for myself. It'll be fun. And so then I did that. And then after I did it, I was just like, messing around for a while just on, my debut series or whatever. But I had no intention of publishing. Like I knew nothing about anything. And I was just like doing it for fun. And then I found out through a coworker at the time that it's pretty easy to self-publish on Amazon. And so I was like, okay, so I just did it. And then I just kept doing it and I just kept like learning and like, meeting people in the book community. This was in, I want to say 2018. This is like the end of 2018. And then so going into about 2019, 2020, I had learned a lot and I was like taking it seriously at that point. So after like the pandemic, stuff changed and whatnot. And I left my full-time, like my corporate job and just started doing this full time. And it like just worked out like way better than I thought it would, like right away, that I was like, oh, this was great. Like I'm doing pretty well. And it's like, so I guess it's probably, so 2021, like beginning of 2021 was about my like first, my like beginning of me being full time, we'll say. And so I'm coming up on that anniversary and that's like pretty exciting because that's when I like, was putting my all into it. Cause I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to treat it like it's a job, this is my profession now. It's going to be a small business and everything. So yeah, it kind of just, I really just stumbled into it, which is like, it's pretty like, that's indicative of the way I do things because I'm just like a jump in, like, with both feet type person. Like, let's not like look into things or research stuff first. Let's just like dive in, make mistakes, see what works, see what doesn't. So yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think I must have stumbled upon you probably around the pandemic. I guess that's when I started with TikTok. And I'm trying to remember if the first book I read was Push or if it was Distorted.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, those two were so Push actually I released in 2019, but it had in 20 around 2021 or so, it had a little bit of like a TikTok like thing, like people, started to kind of like notice it and stuff like that. And so it had this little like thing. And at that time, I also had released Distorted at the beginning of 2021. So both of those were kind of like happening. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, and that's when I was realizing like, let's just like do whatever feels right. Like I'm just gonna write, whatever comes to me. Like whoever speaks the strongest is who's gonna be like who's gonna win. And yeah, it was a good time of just like building up a back catalog so that, there were things for people to check out if they wanted to.
I'm trying to think if that was my first romance. I was like, if it was Distorted, I probably was like, what the
Yeah, you're like,
fuck?
what the fuck is this? Well,
And
that's
I
the
ate
first
that shit up. I was like, what? Where do I find more of this?
Yeah. I know, and that's crazy too because yeah, definitely like when it comes to like dark romance, like back then it wasn't like now it's having a moment. Like dark romance is having a moment right now. But even like, a year, maybe 2 years ago or something, it was much more like obscure. And so when I decided to start the Alabaster Penitentiary series with Distorted, yeah, that wasn't like it wasn't a big thing at the time. Like most of the that was blowing up was really like, kind of contemporary, like, sports or something like that, some forbidden and stuff. But yeah, it was really like I was just like, well, I'm gonna do this. This is gonna be really like this is gonna be my foray into dark. And it's definitely that series is like there are levels of darkness in it. It goes everywhere from probably like pitch black all the way up to just like light gray. So like that's what's kind of fun about it is like if you're not sure about dark, it's not all completely like pitch black. Some of it is. But yeah, it's like has something for everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, so okay, this one's gonna be like a little bit a different one. When you're not writing, what's your favorite way to recharge?
Oh man. Well, I have a real thing for true crime. I'm a true crime girly. So I have a thing which is probably not like it's not always good because you can easily start to just rot instead of like I'm no longer recharging, now I'm just rotting and watching true crime docs like on a like every single one. I feel like I've seen every single true crime docu-series at this point. But it is like it's a way that I definitely like shut my brain off and just kind of like focus. Fun fact, I actually when I was young, what I wanted to be was a like behavioral science like FBI agent, like Clarice from Silence of the Lambs. Like that's literally like what I wanted to be. And so I'm like and then at one point I thought I wanted to be a lawyer too. So like all these kind of like aspects of it, I'm like, I get so invested. I'm like, I really like the ones where you get to like see the whole case like from start to finish. You get to like learn all the stuff about the investigation and then you get to see the court case and stuff. I'm super into it. So that's probably like my biggest like, just relax after like a long stressful day of whatever authoring stuff, I'll be lying on the couch and just like, okay, which true crime series am I going to binge right now?
Yeah. Mm. If you could describe your writing in 3 words, this might be tough, but in 3 words, what 3 words would you use?
Oh my goodness, that's hard. Yeah, I think probably my writing, I would say maybe unique. Some sort of like, yeah, something like unique. Maybe uh, yeah, complex. I don't know if complex is the same as unique, but it's definitely like somewhere in that range. And then um I'm going to use a hyphenate because that's what I always say is like boundary pushing. So like it's always like that's the central theme of like of my books usually because it's hard like not all my books are all very different. So like I don't have like really one like set kind of thing. I mean I like to do everything. I like to just like whatever, whether it's dark, whether it's contemporary sports, like super taboo, like medium taboo, like just any like sort of thing like that. I like to do it all, but the central like theme of my writing is definitely that it's like unique, boundary pushing, and I'll like always like, spice level infinity. That's what I always say too. Spice level infinity. So you're always gonna get like equal parts smut and plot. That's like
Right.
D.
That's so true. Yes.
Yeah. I like for it to be like equal. I like for it to be like, nice, like a lot of plot, whether it's like something super complicated like the Alabaster Pen series, which is just like very like involved. There's a lot going on. Or if it's, something more like either push where it's just like, this is just a kind of centered around the characters, but no matter what it is, I like for it to be super spicy, but then also have like a lot going on, like plot wise.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Mm. Um, but so do you like when you're like, working, writing, do you write in silence or do you have a playlist that fuels your scenes?
Yeah, so I'm like a playlist junkie. I love making playlists on Spotify. I'm huge into like music just in general. So music is a huge inspiration point for me. So I do make playlists for all of my books. That said, there will be times when for some reason I can't, like I need absolute silence. Like I actually will sometimes go in my car because it's like so quiet. Like I'll just sit in my car and write like if I'm distracted or whatever is going on, but it's just like so quiet in there that it like locks off all the noise. But then there's other times where I'm like, the music is like inspiring me to like, getting me in the mood for whatever characters are doing whatever they're doing. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting because it'll be one way or the other. It either has to be like lots of good music or absolute silence, depending on what.
Okay, to piggyback off that, what would you say was the most surprising or unusual place that you got inspiration for a particular scene?
Oh man. Yeah, it's like there's been so much, but like right now I'm not going to be able to remember anything. I'm going to be like, "Wait, what? I did what?" Um no, I know that I get inspiration from a lot of like random thing. Like sometimes the most random thing. It can even be something as small as like a song lyric. Like there will be like not necessarily the song itself, but just like literally like one line will like spark something. And the same could be said for like it happens also with like TV shows or movies or something. Like if I'm watching something and all of a sudden like something that they'll do or say or whatever, I'll just be like all of a sudden it'll just be like a whole world. And it won't be like it won't have anything to do with what I was watching or listening to. Like it's completely different, but it's just like one tiny little thing will inspire. Um like I know that this is with we'll use For the Fans as an example because I've been talking about it a lot recently, so I specifically am remembering a lot of this, but with For the Fans, it was actually the whole story, the whole entire book was inspired by this one OnlyFans guy, like this guy who's on OnlyFans. And his name is Alejo Pino. And if anyone is interested in following just a beautiful human being, like definitely look him up. I 100% follow him and like constantly post his stuff and put his stuff in my stories because to me, like he like is the physical embodiment of Avi. Like as soon as I saw him, like that was like there was this one like I have a Discord for my Patreon and we have like a area we call the perv room where we just like would show like like porn clips or like whatever like pervy stuff that we're like share all 18 plus content and stuff. And we were on like someone was on Twitter and we all followed him and we were obsessed with him. And there was this one clip of him in one of his videos. They actually do like use Twitter to like advertise the OnlyFans because they can just there's no guidelines. You don't get in trouble for certain things over there. So it was like this one image of him and he had a backwards cap on and he was like doing his thing. And but it was just like I was like, oh my God, I need to write a story. And like it all just like came like within it was so fast too. Within like a span of like, I don't even know, a couple days. I had like this entire thing like thought out in my head, like what was gonna, I was like, even the title was like one of the first things that came to me because I was like, as soon as I decided that it was gonna be about OnlyFans, I was like, it's gonna be called For the Fans, and they're gonna say For the Fans, like, all the time. Like, they're just gonna constantly say it, like, a lot because I love when the title is, like, said in books, so I, like, decided to be me and, like, go so hard with it and be like, they're gonna say it, like, 100 times. Like, it's gonna be so fun. And then it was like, yeah, and then I actually was watching, like, shortly after that, as I'm, like, ruminating all of this, I was watching an episode of Modern Family, and I don't know if anyone's ever if you've ever seen this show, but it's like there's this one episode where one of the characters is a football coach, and there's this like kid who's the mascot, and he's like imitating him and like making fun of him like on the sidelines, like making fun of the coach. So he's like dancing behind him and like just imitating him and stuff. And I was like, that is so cute. I'm like, he needs to be the mascot. I'm like, that is Avi needs to be the mascot, and he needs to be like driving his stepbrother crazy, like just making it insane on the sidelines, being goofy all the time. And yeah, it really just like snowballed into that. But it was like interesting how it was totally like this one guy who just like kind of inspired everything. And all of a sudden I'm like coming up with this whole storyline for it.
That's crazy. See, that's a unique and unusual place. I love
Yeah,
it.
actual porn. That's what
we, we need to thank that creator for
exactly.
that
Yeah.
book. You know.
Alejandro, he's fantastic. I mean, I would like to say that he's kind of aware at this point because like he has this like now, I mean, he already was doing well for himself, but he definitely has this like new sort of following that of people that have joined because of like me constantly like, and also then for a while he had this guy who was his boyfriend at the time who was a blonde and stuff. So it was like the two of them together, like they're actually making this OnlyFans content, and it was very interesting because, I mean, obviously they're not the characters and they're not going to be anything like them because they're those real people. But it was just really fun to like be able to look at it. And now there's like actually all these like pictures and stuff and videos that are sort of like inspiring like the story. It's really interesting.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Are there any like out of curiosity, are there any genres or tropes that you haven't written yet that you would love to write?
Yeah, there's so much that I haven't written that I would love to write. I have a lot of ideas right now, and I'm just like kind of like digging myself out of a crazy burnout that I was in for the last couple of years. So I'm like just getting back into stuff, but like the while I was not writing, the ideas like didn't stop. So I have like a million ideas of things that I want to write and start working on, and like unfortunately not enough hands and like not enough of me to like do it as fast as I want to. But I really wanna do, I wanna do, like, some sort of mafia type thing. I mean, I'm kinda working mafia into the Alabaster Pen series, but it's more like cartel than, like, mafia, whatever. But I do wanna I there's, like, tropes that I had this idea where I was like, if there's a trope that I haven't been crazy about, like, reading, that I wanted to write it to see, like, if I could make myself like it. And one of the things that I always thought was I was like, I'm not too crazy about mafia. So I was like, maybe I could like take my, try my hand in that and see if like I do with it. But like, in a different sort of way. And then I was like, so I have this one book that I'm halfway through or something, but it just keeps like getting pushed off. And it's really like a fake dating type thing, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, like, I don't see myself really writing fake dating that much." And then one of my friends was like, "Well, isn't For the Fans like fake dating?" And I was like, "Thanks for, like, literally ruining my whole, like, idea that I had of this whole thing." And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess it kinda is, in a way." Like, it's, like, different, obviously, because 'cause they're not, like, pretending to be in a relationship. It's more like, acting something out, like, almost like if they were actors or something. But, yeah, I have, like, this idea. I really wanted to do, like, a fake dating where they, like, have to pretend that they're in a relationship, like, for the sake of, like, in front of their families or whatever it is. I definitely wanna do that. Um, yeah, there's, like, a lot of stuff I would love to do. probably more like I want to do more sports, but like different kinds of sports, not like the usual ones like football and hockey and stuff like that. Yeah, I wanna do, like, different sort of, like, athletic type ones. So I have stuff that I'm, like, planning to do for that because I think that'll be fun. So, like, do, like, it's like sports, but, like, not really sports. Or, like, kind of rivals. Yeah, like exactly. Boxing is definitely one of them. Like, swimmers, I really like swimmers.
Oh,
Um
no, my son's a swimmer.
Yeah. You might not be able to well, I don't
No,
know
I'm
if we'll
kidding.
both be swimmers, but, like, maybe one of them will be a swimmer or a
Just
former
kidding.
swimmer or something. And, yeah, like, stuff like that, like, just, like, maybe gymnastics or something. Like, something, like, different.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah. Mm,
Yes.
Yeah.
All these opportunities for the rivals to lovers thing, which I really like.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's like I love. I mean, I think the only sports that I've read, like, really, it's football because it's the usual, and then
Mhm.
hockey.
Yep.
But I think too with hockey because they can get really aggressive.
Yeah.
Um,
It's fun.
and then um, I I've read MMA.
Mhm.
I've read a little bit of lacrosse, but I usually avoid it because my son plays
Yeah,
lacrosse.
see?
I was like, I can't do it. It's just like it's just too close.
Yeah, it's too close.
um,
Oh, I read one baseball.
Yeah,
That
there's
wasn't the
some base.
center focus, though.
Mhm.
That was just like an idea. Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh.
I feel like
So many
I
ways.
really liked writing football because football is, like, my favorite sport. American football is my favorite sport. So, like, that's like, but admittedly, like, I'm a huge fan of, like, NFL football. I know absolutely nothing about college football. I've never watched college football a day in my life. So I had to, like, in my author's note, be like, "I'm sorry if some of this isn't exactly right," because I don't know, like, their schedules are very different, like, the way they, like, go through their, like, the rounds and all that stuff is very different, so I was like, "Sorry if this isn't exactly right." I'm going based off of, like, my knowledge of NFL.
Yeah. Mm. So let's switch gears. You talked a little bit about publishing and how you kind of just did it. Um, what's something you did wish that you knew at the time before you started?
Oh, man. There's a lot of things I wish I knew before. Yeah, I definitely made a lot of mistakes because that's the way I do things. It's really not like I don't anytime I give advice to like, up and coming authors or something, I'm always like, don't be me, like do your research beforehand because like you just will save yourself so much time and sometimes money and stuff like by into stuff first before just like diving into things. For example, like with audio. So I got really into audiobooks in the last couple of years. Before that, I had never listened to an audiobook. Before I listened to one of mine, I had never listened to an audiobook and I wasn't really like into it. It wasn't really my thing. Or I thought it wasn't. But then I was like, well, here's like another market and like people, other authors were doing it and stuff. And I was like, yeah, like this seems cool. But the problem was that like I had started, so I was like I was self-producing them at first, as opposed to like having a publisher or something like that. So I was like, getting auditions and like listening and choosing narrators and stuff like that, like you go through the whole process rather than with a publisher where they kind of just like give you people that they think might work and then you approve them or whatever and you're not really like too involved in the process. But it was like I was doing this whole self-production thing, but I had never listened to an audiobook and I still was like getting super cringe like about listening to my own like audiobooks. So I would so like you have to listen to it. Like you can't listen to it. You have to at least maybe have someone else listen to it, but you can't just like not listen. But I would literally like listen to like the first like 30 seconds just to make sure that like the chapter was correct and it was in the right place. And then I wouldn't listen to any of it. And I would just like let it go. I'd be like, "Burp, publish, like it's on Audible now," without having listened to like any of it. And so then like, what happens with that is that you miss the opportunity to like have them correct things. Like if they're saying something a certain way that you're like, that's not how I would want that pronounced, or that's not how I think that side character's voice should sound, or whatever. Like now you can't do anything about it because you already just like threw it out into the world. So there's like in my earlier audios, it's like there's definitely stuff that I wish that I would have been able to catch if I wasn't like being so crazy. Um, but but I mean, it's still even so, like it's now I'm to the point where like the whole audiobook production process to me is just like so fascinating. Like I'm just fascinated by narrators and voice acting, and I just find it also like incredible. I think they're so talented. Like I almost like see them as like celebrities. I can't even like fathom they can do the things that they do. Like it's kind of amazing. So, yeah, it's like a really fun process, but I definitely could have saved myself a lot of like irritation now. Like when I go back and listen to certain things, I'm like, oh, that's not how that's supposed to like be, you know? Like, but that was my own fault.
That's
Yeah.
Not listening to it first.
see, learn lessons along the way.
Yeah, exactly.
This is like good to know for like, if there's any authors that are listening that hasn't had any audiobook yet. That's a good thing to know. Like,
It is.
listen to
The also, like, my number one always piece of advice, like, to au like, authors, like, who are starting out or something too, it's and this might be just, like, a thing with me as a person too, but I always just want everybody to be, like, better than I am at certain things. It's like, if you're starting out, like, don't be Nyla K. Don't be the most unorganized person in the world. I can't tell you how many, like, files I've lost, like, because I wasn't organizing my stuff correctly, like, you know, how many times I've had to go back and have things reformatted from start to finish because I like, you know, wasn't just like just keeping myself organized and dumb. But yeah, and the other thing too is like if you're gonna be a small business, like you need to like think of yourself as a small business. Like, that's the thing. So like don't just like guess on your taxes. Like
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know, like
true. Right.
how much like, I would just be like, "Oh, yeah, if I put aside, like, 30%, like, that should be enough, right?" Like, no, like, actually keep track of the things that you're doing and, like, your expenses and all that stuff so that, like, you know what's going on instead of having to learn it, like, later down the fortunately for me, it did work out, and I had, like, people, you know, helping me, but it was still I was like, "Wow," like, by the skin of my teeth, this, like, worked out, like, you know, so now and I'm still the same way. I say that, but I'm still the same way. I waited until the absolute last second to do my tax stuff this year, like, had nothing prepared, was like, "This is not how a professional does things." I just blame my artist brain. That's it.
That do you know what?
Artist
That's
brain can't
that's it.
can't do
That's exactly right because I'm like a gypsy. I'm all over the place. My shit's all over the place. Like I need notice. If you're coming to my house, I need notice because I gotta like push shit in closets and like
Mhm. Yeah, like exactly. It's like I always look at people who like especially when you are, you know, like you're an indie author and so you're on social media all the time and all you see is, you know, your colleagues, you know, other indie authors doing things and I'm always just like is it social media that's making these authors look like they have it so well together or do they actually have things so well together and I'm just like the hottest of hot messes that's like ever existed. 'Cause I just it's so hard for me. It really is. That's like it's one of the hardest parts of this whole thing for me is like, you know, just being organized and stuff. Um, but then also I'm also a massive control freak. So so everyone's always like, "Oh, well, why don't you just hire people to do stuff this?" Well, because I can't release any control to anyone. So it's like impossible because I'm like forcing myself to do it all, but then like having too much on my plate. So
oh.
yeah, it's one of those things. And I'm like, don't be me. Like cautionary tale. Like, don't be a huge control freak. Like loosen the reins. Like find people to help you.
Yeah, but I think too, like also like with social media, we just like see portion like what we kind of not really like everything
It
else.
is, yeah, and that's a huge thing too, like, you know, especially when you're I know a lot of authors, indie authors who start out, and because you have to be on social media so much, they spend a lot of time, just seeing what people are doing. And like, the imitation game is like a real like buzzkill. It really is. So always my biggest piece of advice to everyone too is like take a break, like get off of social media. I know it's hard. Like we all have our phones on us 24/7 and we're constantly like doom scrolling, but like it's like just it's such a time suck and a motivation suck for sure.
You're right. Yep.
This is gonna be a fun question. If you could swap lives with one of your characters for a day, any of your characters, who would it be and why?
Oh my goodness. That is definitely a tough one. Oh my goodness, yeah, that's really hard. I mean, at this point, well, I kinda have 2. Like, one so, like, if I wanted to be, like, the person that I feel like I could just, like, really, like, shine in their shoes, so would be my character Joy from Alabaster Penitentiary. She's, like, in book 2, Joyless is an MMF, and so she's the only female on this island that's, like, a prison, just, like, full of dudes, and they're all, like, alpha hole, like, aggressive, like, guys and stuff, like and she's the only female, but she's, like, such a badass. Like, she is just kicking ass and taking names, like, all the time. And then she also gets to, like, be in a relationship with, like, these 2 hot dudes who, like, and so when I was writing her character, I was very much like, "Okay, this is, like, how I would be in this situation." Just, like, do whatever you want, like, I'm just gonna sit back, like, I don't need to be involved, I'm fine. Like, that is I feel like would be so much fun. But if I was gonna say a character that I would like to that, you know I would love to be in their shoes for, like, a day. I would love to be in Avi's shoes. I feel like Avi has, like, probably a very fun life now, especially now at the end of the book where he gets to just, like, travel around with his, like, quarterback superstar NFL boyfriend and just, like, have fun and, like, do art and just, like, live life. Like, that seems like a lot of fun to me. So, yeah, he very much gets to be, like, just flitting around, but that's his life. His life is just to flit, and it's fun.
Yeah, I love it too. I think that would be like the perfect scenario. Is just like have somebody like take care of you. I mean, you can still do what you love, but no pressure kind of thing, you know?
Like, you just do whatever, like, I have a bunch of characters actually that, like, that tends to be, like, the way the story ends is, like, that's, like maybe it's, like, unconsciously, like, that's my idea of happily ever after is just being able to, like, do whatever the hell you want. So, like, just, like, unlimited money coming in from some person, whether it's, like, a person or your job or whatever it is. You get to travel everywhere, like, nice big house, like, living it just living the dream. They all somehow end up having that. It's really weird.
Well, yeah.
That is the dream though, isn't it? Like, I mean, really, it is. Like, traveling, endless money, and just bopping around living life.
Yeah.
That's what I
It's
always say. It's
true
like,
love.
yeah, that's what I always say. It's like, where are the hot mafia guys? Because
Yeah, like,
the
where really are they?
right, like their significant other is always just like, oh, I'm just gonna go shop. Or like, if I want to have a business, I could, but I don't really technically have to work. But yeah.
No, because then you'd be for fearing that they're gonna end up in jail, and then what? Then all the money's
Okay,
gone,
look,
and
look.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah, it has
world.
to be for something else, like, yeah, sports or well, I don't know, that might be a little stressful sometimes too. Just a random billionaire. Like, I have a character who's like a, sorta like a Wall Street guy, like, there you go. That's easy. They can do that. Money, traveling, fun times.
Or any tech billionaire. Tech
Yes,
is always gonna be like,
exactly.
but tech billionaire, are you gonna find a hot one?
I have a hot tech billionaire.
You do?
I
In
do.
real life?
Yeah, no, no, not in real life.
Oh, that's what I mean.
That would be nice,
Not
but
like in real life.
that would be nice, but no.
right. I don't think I've seen any hot
I
unless they're
would
hiding somewhere.
I know.
Unless
No,
they're
no kidding. There's this hot guy. I hope my husband's not home. Um, He's mafia, like real life guy. I found him doom scrolling on TikTok. I can't remember his name. He's in another country. I forgot. Is he German or is he, I don't know,
Are
but
you sure he's mafia?
that's what they
Maybe.
say because then I googled him
Uh-huh.
and I
It's
was like, is this for real?
Russian mafia.
Yeah. I don't remember now. But I was obsessed and I'm like, he doesn't want my old ass anyway.
Oh.
Oh gosh. All right. Let me rein it back in. Sorry. So let's talk about For the Fan. So we know what the inspiration for the book is. We've already covered that. When writing this, did you always know that you wanted to make this A, enemies to lovers, and B, step siblings?
So interestingly enough, the sibling part was one of the last things that I decided on. Yeah, I knew right away I wanted them to be like enemies. I knew I wanted to be like a hate to love situation. One, because Grumpy Sunshine is my ultimate bread and butter. There is nothing in the world to me like a Grumpy Sunshine story, especially when they don't like each other. So, especially when they don't get along for whatever type of reason, Grumpy Sunshine is just like, I just love it. And I like knew immediately that, like, based on the fact that this mascot character was obviously going to be like the goofy sort of sunshine, like stoner artist type guy, that I was like, so the other one has to be the uptight control freak, like Ken, like possibly like his just like, oh my God, I hate you. You're so annoying. So like that like happened pretty like early on, but then like as I was like thinking about it and I'm talking through everything with my partner, I'm like, just rambling on and on about it because I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be so fun. I'm gonna love writing this so much. It'd be so different from anything else I've done. And then I was like, the last sort of thing that kind of fell into place was I was like, you know what? They should be stepbrothers because that way they're not just random people who hate each other who just happen to go to the same school. Now they like are, it's almost like forced proximity too, which I also love, which is just like now they kind of are like forced into each other's lives because their parents are together. So like now they're, sharing a house and like, a bathroom and things are like really tense because of that. I was like, this is gonna be the best possible way to like make the tension like really palpable is that like they're stuck in each other's lives because their parents got married. And I had never written a step sibling story before. I wrote a super taboo like actual sibling story, but I never written yeah, double edged. I've never written a step sibling thing. And this was like, I mean, step siblings also kind of had its moment over the last like maybe year and a half or 2 years or something too. Um, but like when I was having this idea and like, it wasn't something that like was that much on my radar. So when I like decided to do that, I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be so great. This is like the perfect way to get them in each other's lives, like and just annoying the shit out of each other so bad. They're gonna be forced to like, have to work together and make money together and do the stuff, and they're just gonna hate it because now we're stepbrothers and now it's even more forbidden or whatever the case may be. So yeah, that and the situation with Chiron's trauma, those were kind of like the two like later things that like I found out. But with trauma related stuff and mental illness related stuff, I sometimes don't learn about that until I'm like already either like, sort of plotting or like even once I start writing, like Distorted, prime example, like I didn't go into that book like knowing that the main character was going to have like this mental illness. I found it out like as I was starting to write. And I was like, it's really like an interesting thing because you're like getting to know the character and stuff. And then you're just like, what? Like, I can't put my finger on it. Like, what is this? And then it's like all of a sudden it just smacks you in the face. And you're like, oh, that's what it is. So the same kind of thing was like with Chiron's trauma. I did not like go into it knowing that that was going to be part of it. It just happened, which was really interesting. And then obviously like very deep and emotional at times and stuff.
Yeah. And also another thing that I loved with this is I love a good bi awakening. Like you push so hard and you're like, no, I'm straight, I'm straight, I'm straight. And I'm like, buddy, you're not.
You're just not.
Get on board.
Yeah, there is not there. I mean, yeah, bi awakening or gay awakenings are like it's just, yeah, a sexuality awakening story is really just it's just very satisfying. It's like it's just the best way to also kind of, like, give that, like, push and pull sort of, like, thing that you know, like, where you're just like, they're really fighting it, and I love that. That's, like, something I love putting into my stories, like, no matter what is happening, I just love for there to be, like, pushback, you know, like,
Mhm.
where one of them is just, like, just really whether it's the sexuality thing or, like, that they don't like the person or, you know, whatever the case may be, like, that tension is just, like that's what you really like to, like, feel, and, you know, especially with for the fans because it's like, you know, they're specifically making, like, sexual content together, so they, like, have no choice. I mean, of course, everyone has a choice, but they have, like, no choice technically but to, like, do this stuff together, and so, yeah, it's a lot of, like, fighting it for sure.
It's funny how they were like Chiron was fighting it, but like he's so possessive at the same time. It's like, come on. Like we both know you really like him. You're just in denial.
It's like, man, we can see through you like like, you know, like you're made of cellophane. Like you're just very transparent right now. It's like and that was the thing that was like really like, you know, because Avi is just so he's such a free spirit that he is like, hey, I might be bi. I'm gonna experiment. This is gonna be cool. I'm gonna figure out my situation. Like, ooh, fun times. Like has no qualms about it whatsoever. But then like, you know, Chiron has issues and stuff. So he's like, you know, just really being like, "No, no, 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 no," and Avi's just like, "Yes, yes, 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 yes," and it's just like, eventually, like, you slowly start to see it, like, wearing on him in a way that he just can't deny anymore.
Yeah. Especially when the roommate finally shows up.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
right? Oh my
Right?
god,
Like
I
'cause
love that. That was
yeah,
one thing
because
I
they
was
were
talking about, like, how there I have in the audiobook, the For the Fans audiobook, I have, like, certain chapters that, like, I'll just randomly put on, like, if I just wanna listen to something while I'm, like, you know, going to sleep or doing something. I don't wanna, like, have to pay attention, but just, like, something to pop on. For some reason, I just always listen to that chapter. I love that chapter where, like, you know, Chiron goes over and, like, you know, Ash Holloway is there, and he's just like, "What's happening?" And that's also the same chapter when, you know, he, like, makes his whole, like freaks out in the middle of the party and like, you know, throws him off of Avi and stuff. And it's just like, there is no denying this anymore. Like, it's just obvious what's happening here.
I don't know, yeah. Um okay, so this would be interesting. So between Avi and Karen, who was the most challenging for you to kind of write?
Oh, Chiron, oh my goodness. It's always like that too. And I love the grumpy characters so much. I just love them so much, but they're always the hardest. For whatever reason, it's like it's easier to write like a free-spirited like goofball. I feel like between the two of them, they are like sort of the two like halves of my personality because I have like this Cap Aquarius thing going on where I'm like very like you know, control freakish, like Capricorn. And then I'm also like, I have this sort of like weirdo, like wacky side. And so
Mhm.
that's the side that's really easy to just like go because, you know, it's the fun side. Like it's, you know, I think maybe sometimes the challenge with that is like their growth, like the character growth, because like, you know, that both characters have to have growth, not just the one who's like, you know, grouchy and has trauma and stuff. Like they both have to have stuff going on. So usually it maybe is a little bit of a challenge getting that person to grow and stuff and figure out what their deal is, but it is always the you know, the grumpy character that, like, makes you pull this stuff out of them, like, you know, it's like, it really, like, pulling teeth, like, just, "Come on, like, show me what is happening here, like, what do you want?" You know? And it's really hard.
Right.
I have that with, like, pretty much I mean, my books are long, so, like, it takes a while to get to my, like, halfway through point or something, but usually I will have this thing where it's, like, the first half of the book, I'm, like, in a daze, and then also, like, not really feeling like I even know what I'm doing or, like, I'm even connected to the story, and it was very much like that with For the Fans, even though it was one of my more, like, organized and regimented, like, writing experiences, it wasn't until about 80,000 words or so, which for me is halfway. It was like, I finally felt connected to them, and I was like, for a while, I'm just like, "Oh my god, what is going on? Like, is this even working? I don't know." And then like I did like a read through of it and I was just like, oh my God. Like, yes, it's working. Working so well. Yes. Like so it like takes a while to get to that point. And I would deign to say that it's Kyron's fault. Maybe it's not all his fault, but like a little bit of his like just yeah, trying to be like, what do you want? Like what's the point here? What are we going
Yeah.
towards?
Yeah. Yeah, because technically, like Avi kind of knew already, like figured it out as they were like kept making content, and he was just like he was already thinking about it. It's like, is it really just for the fans, or there's more to it?
He was definitely I mean, he was feeling like, you know, some feelings about it, but only because he knew that Chiron is so difficult. He's like, if I end up having feelings for this guy, like this is gonna suck because he's just hates me and he's just like he's so closed off and all this stuff. Um, but yeah, it's like it's definitely like an interesting thing, like trying to get these characters to like show you like what the situation is. Like what's going on? Like are we gonna ever like and also the other thing that's difficult is that a lot of time because I am a sucker for a good love story, like obviously that's why I write romance. Like I feel like a lot of times like the character I want the characters to be like in love and like schmoopy and like loving each other. Like I want that right away. So like I'm always like trying to push it on them right away. And it's like no, like that's not going to work. So it's like I feel like if I were just to let myself run free, like every story would be like insta love because like they would just immediately be like infatuated with each other and just like humping each other's brains out. But it's like if it's not what they do, they're like, no, it's not like working. And then you have to like put in all this effort with like building this angst and stuff. And it's just like, ugh, like it's as frustrating for me as it is for them almost. Like I'm feeling that
Yeah.
tension and irritation where I'm like, just kiss and be together already. And they just won't. Mm, yeah.
Yeah, I like that it builds to that. Like, if I want just pure smut, then I'm just going to read a quick novella that's got, but yeah, I have to say that about your stories. It's like such a development. It's like you actually feel it, whatever's going on. Like for Double Edged, I cried for that story. Like, yes, let's be real. It was completely forbidden, taboo. But take that off the table and like I felt for these characters. That's one of my favorites of yours for sure.
See, that's the
Like as far as the emotion.
yeah, that's the thing. That's what I always try to get people to understand too, because I know, like, I would never like try to like, you know, if somebody doesn't want to read something like that, I would never be like, "Mm, but you should, you know, like obviously, like don't if you're not sure, like don't, you know, don't push yourself and read something that's gonna make you uncomfortable. But like for usually the only thing I will say is that like yes, it's super taboo, but this book is extremely emotional. Like if I'm gonna do like a super taboo like book like that, like, I want it to, like I don't want it to just be well, for one, like, I mean, if there's incest in a book, and this is complete fiction, obviously, but if there's incest in a book, like, th I am not going to buy that this is just gonna be happening all of a sudden. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, if that's gonna happen, it's gonna be something that these characters are fighting against tooth and nail. Like, they're not just gonna randomly be like, "Oops, like, looks like we're having sex now." Like, you know, like, it wouldn't make sense to me that that would happen. I mean, maybe it does, I don't know. But, like, to me, I feel like there really needs to be a lot of fight in that, and, like, that's why I like doing it, like, with Double Edge too. I mean, that was one of the more complicated books I've ever written. That book started out it was supposed to be a novella for an anthology. It turned into, you know, 170,000 some odd words or something, this full length, like, super duper, like, emotional, complex, like, story that was just so complicated, but it, like, makes sense that it was because they really were I mean, this was some serious business, but I absolutely love that book, and speaking of audio, oh my goodness, the audio for that one is just, whew, ooh doggy.
Oh, you know what? Now I have to buy it. I read it. Now I need to hear it because
It's in
there's a couple
duet
scenes
too. It's duet audio. It's freaking amazing. I was like,
I
"Oh,
need to hear that.
so
The
good."
scene with the pool table. I need to hear that. And then the first penetration scene, like all of a sudden, I was, oh my God. Oh my God.
The audio is just, I mean, I can't always do duet, obviously it's it's way more expensive and stuff, but in this case, I like had this idea that I was like, I should just do it. And it came out. I mean, so it's Corvin King who does for the fans also. He narrates both of the twins and he is fantastic. Like he is just so good. Like you can really tell that they're like two different people.
I
And
was going to ask.
yeah,
Yeah. How do you do
he
that?
does it like it's crazy. And actually too, like I know so Coulson, like, the emo boy, like bad twin is like usually everyone's favorite. But in the audio, like he brings such life to like Cyrus, who's like the sweet one, the one who's like, the quiet, shy one. Like he like really just like it's crazy. It's crazy to hear like the story in such like a different manner. There's also it's kind of technically full cast too, because there's a female who does like all the female parts. Her name is Rosie, and she does like the mom, like, oh my gosh. The mom is like so terrible, and she is just her like it's terrible. She's terrible. It's like nails on a chalkboard. It's perfect for this character because she's just so awful. It's like amazing.
I love duet multicast or slash multicast.
So good. Like I wish I could do it for everything. I would love that.
Well, when you get your billionaire techie.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm kidding. No, how about this? You're going to be so successful for yourself. You're going to do it.
Yeah, I know. I'm already having plans where I'm like, there's certain ones like one of my earlier books, which is MF. I like have been thinking about I've been mulling over doing audio for this one. It's another one that's really long. So the long ones obviously are really
Which one?
expensive. To Burn in Brutal Rapture.
Yep, I read it.
Yeah, so I really want to do that book in audio, but I have my heart set on doing duet because it's like, it's easier to get away with not doing it with when there's two male main characters. When there's a female and a male, it's like you kind of want that. Like it would be really nice if I could do that. So that's like I'm thinking about it. But that would be nice.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah.
Okay, so burning question. Are there any characters in For the Fans, or even main characters or side characters, that surprised you and evolved differently than you thought they would?
Yes, definitely. Oh my goodness. Well, pretty much the whole thing too, because I started that book thinking that it was 100 million% going to be a full standalone. And then by the time I started getting like to know the side characters, I was like, oh, well, this one needs a book and this one needs a book and this one needs a book. So now I'm like, have all these ideas to do like spin-offs and stuff. Cause I still don't want to make it a series. Like I still want it to be a standalone, but I'm like, I want like, like Theo's definitely going to get a book. Like Goody needs to get a book. They're like, just, they've got a lot going on. And that, but definitely the one thing that was like craziest was with Kyron's dad at the end when he has like the like confrontation with like his parents. He finally has like the showdown with them, and then him and his dad end up like sort of like repairing their relationship. Like that that wasn't part of it like at all. It wasn't supposed to be that way. Like he was just going to tell them off and then leave, and that was going to be the end of it. But then all of a sudden, like he's like goes through this emotional thing, and I was just like, no. I was like, I can't. Like this is like I've written a lot of crappy parents. Like this is like this guy is going to have a moment where he's going to realize like he's not going to be a huge scumbag like he has been the whole rest of the book. Like he needs a redemption arc like himself. And so that was a total surprise. It came out of nowhere because I definitely didn't plan it. And then all of a sudden he was like, he's going to try to turn it around and be like a good guy now, which was nice. I mean, it really was very satisfying.
That's I think one of my favorite scenes. So usually like my favorite scenes are between like, the main characters, but then you get like those because that was like, nobody was there for him except for his, older sister, but then she also kind of like booked out like as soon as she could. So having that and the dad's kind of like, when they were staying at his house, like, look, like I'm fine, but don't be like shoving it in
Yeah,
my face.
exactly.
Kind of thing. It's like,
That was really cute. Yeah, I really like that part too. The fact that they ended up like staying with him for like a few months and they're just like being Avi's being as usual, like, crazy self, like joking and being perverted and stuff and like trying to deal with it and stuff. I feel like that would be that's another thing that I'm like, because I read a lot of bonus content for like my Patreon. So that's something that I've been like meaning to like write more of is just like what was happening when they were staying with him. Cause it's just like really funny. Like I'm trying to not be like so uncomfortable.
Because they were like, "Well, I'm gonna go to the store," and then they're like, things like, "How long? how much time do we have?"
Yeah. Or he was
And
like,
they're
"Yeah,
like,
do you need anything?" And Avi's like, "Condoms and lube." And he's like, "Just kidding. We don't use condoms."
like, and the dad's just like, "Eh, I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear anything. I'm gonna go now."
That's funny. Yeah, that was a great
But
part.
I love that. I would have expected them to like move in with his mom, Avi's mom, because she was, like she didn't care, like she's pretty open, but
Yeah,
the dad. So that was
it
like nice.
was really yeah, it was definitely a satisfying thing to
Mhm.
have Thomas Harbour turn it around and get that
Yeah.
redemption to stop being a jerk.
um. Right. So, were there any scenes in this book that were like especially difficult for you to write? And yeah.
um yeah, I mean there were definitely parts that were difficult. I think that um probably the most difficult part in many different ways was the part when Avi finds out like about Chiron's, past and everything.
Hmm.
One, like, it's obviously it's difficult because it's emotional. So that was like it's always hard to like, write something in a way that's like going to be evoking emotions, but it's even more difficult when you're having that happen and the like character in question is not there. Like it's happening between like other people, like they're finding out like from someone else. So like he's finding out from Chiron's sister. It's like even more difficult because it's like, like how do I make this like is all the emotions still come across without like you know even hearing it from the character who is dealing with it. It's
Hmm.
like kind of just like I think I always not struggle, but I always like put a lot of pressure on myself when it comes to um like scenes where people have to like confess a lot of stuff, like where somebody has to like tell you a long story about something that happened to them or whatever it is, because it's like you never want to feel like they're just like just talking and having this long ass monologue out of nowhere. But at the same time, sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes, you didn't know a character didn't know about something and they have to find it out via somebody, whether it's like the main character or somebody else or what have you. So that's always like a tough part because it's like, how do you convey like enough emotion? Um, and conveying emotion too is like it's hard. It's sometimes it can be hard in writing too, like when it's something that isn't happening to that person again, but it's like they're feeling empathy on behalf of somebody else. It's like, how do I like really like show that this is like, he's really feeling this, like it's affecting him and stuff. And so that was definitely like a difficult part. Um and yeah, that whole part was just difficult anyway because it's like from there to then, Chiron finding out and stuff, that was a really emotional part, super emotional. That's one of the more emotional. That was I think that was the part that made me cry while I was writing it. Um, and I don't always cry like while I'm writing something. Like sometimes it won't be until like afterwards when I'm like editing through and just rereading it, but like that was the part when like Avi's telling him that like he's not broken and he's like if you're broken then we should all be so broken because you're amazing, like that part was like it really got me, like it was just like right in the chest and I was just like ugh, like so emotional over it, and everything that happens from there on too is just like a lot of like you know it's like when you get to that point and like Chiron and Avi are like happy, but you see that there's still like 20% left or something in the book, and you're like, what's happening? Because like they're together. Like he just came out in front of his team. Something is like gonna be going down or whatever it may be. It's like, you know, yeah. So that's always like a hard part when you're like dealing with then this extra like emotional climax, if you will. Um, but yeah, I think that it did. work itself out. And I was happy with the way that Kyron was able to like, get his stuff together. I'm sure like, people were maybe like, "Oh, why do you have to leave? Like, screw him for leaving Avi." Like poor Avi's always just sitting around like dealing with this and stuff. But he's like, I think that he just kind of knew that like if there's one person in the world that will understand, that it would be Avi because he is such an understanding like, person. And he needed
Yeah.
to for his own growth. So I think it worked out.
Yeah. It definitely, so I listened to this on audio. So it was definitely a little bit more emotional. I think with, how the narrators did a great job, and I was feeling that too because I was like looking, I was like, how many more chapters that are in here? Like, I don't think this is a long time. I was like, I bet you they're gonna have like a third act breakup, but it's not really a breakup because in Kyron's head it wasn't really a breakup. It's just like, hey, let me just, heal kind of thing and get through this, making sure that he could do it on his own, not using Abby as a crutch.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that was another thing that wasn't planned either. Like that wasn't like going to happen. I mean, I'm like not much of a plotter. Like I would definitely consider myself a pantser, which is like, when you don't really plot things out. But like in some cases you have to plot out like a little bit. You have to at least know where the story's going. But in this case it was very much like that just was happening. And I was like, okay, like you guys are in charge now. Like I'm not even like you're behind the wheel. I'm just in the passenger seat at this point.
Yeah, yeah. Huh.
Yeah. Because Colleen knows this. I don't really like third act breakups that much, but this one I was like, I think I remember like when I was making notes, I was like, this is like one of those third act breakups that I didn't mind because he's actually trying to get better, be better, um, for both of them, kind of thing. So it's not just for Abby. I think it at one point it was just like meant for Abby, but then as he was like trying to heal, it was more like, okay, it's more for me, like.
Exactly. And yeah, it was like, and that's also something that we talk about too sometimes where we're like, the whole like trauma recovery thing is very important to me in my books. I really I like to like advocate for, medication and therapy. Like if you have something going on, like get it treated, see a doctor, like go to therapy, like let's like no stigma on therapy. It's like a fantastic, amazing thing. Like I really like for that to be like part of, their journeys, even in like the darkest books. Like I like for them to like, be like feel like they're getting better at the end, instead of just being like the dick cured all type thing where it's like, oh well that dick just cured my like mental illness. Like it doesn't really work that way. So yeah, I like for that. I like, yeah, exactly. It's funny.
As good as we want it to be, I don't think it's not, like, I know it's fiction, but it's not, it's still, we still kind of like have like that a little bit realistic moment that's not gonna happen.
That's what I like to do. I really like to toe a line between like, okay, this is totally fiction, like we're escaping reality here, but then also like I like it to be somewhat believable, like just
Right.
throw in a few of those like realistic things to make it feel like it's not just like too over the top. Although over the top is fun sometimes.
Um, oh, this is a good one. If you could spend one day with one of your characters, who would you choose and why?
Oh my goodness. I know, like, I feel like I wanna cheat and just be like, all the Alabaster Pen characters together, like, they're all a found family, so they can all be together, but, no, I mean, I love Dash from Distorted. He's probably one of my favorite characters ever that I've ever written. Usually when people ask me, like, who my favorite character is, it's, like, an impossible question to answer, but I'll usually say him because he's just, like, so like interesting to me and so like different and like he just has a lot like he's baby as fuck but he's also like got that like sort of like witty sarcastic Russian sensibility thing going on like he's just like very interesting but also like I kind of also want to say Tate. I don't know if you guys have read Trouble, which is like a spin-off from like the push and pull world, but Tate is So he's one. So his story is he's like a wealthy like playboy, like never wants to commit ever, and the guy that he ends up getting with Lance is like a pastor who's married. So it's like ooh, super scandalous and you know, cheating to be together, all those vibes. So it's, like, pretty intense, but Tate is one of my favorite characters I've ever written because he is one of those, like, sort of apologetic, like, or unapologetic, like, doesn't give a fuck, like, super fun, like, witty, like, hilarious, but also not, like, too, like he's not, like, too crazy with it, like, he's, like, just he's hard to describe, but he's, like, a partier, but he also has money, and he's just, like, just doesn't even care. He's like ultimate, like, doesn't give a fuck vibes. Like, I am who I am. You either love me or hate me, like that type of vibe. And I love that so much. So I know for a fact he would be so much fun to hang out with. Like, he would be like the ultimate, like, this is, I mean, he kind of reminds me of my best friend in a way. So maybe that's so much. I'm like, I'd love to hang out with him. Like, yeah, we do have a good time.
There you go.
I love those characters where it's like where you don't really change their character as much. Like you know, like there are some where they're like, oh, I have to change for you know, in order for us to be together. It's kind of like, well, but I fell in love with your main personality. Why are you changing? You know, um, I love those characters where they're just like, nah, like you can either take it or leave it.
Yeah, he's like he's really so Tate is one that like if he shows up in Push as kind of like a side character who's like a pot stirrer and like, you know, starting drama and stuff like that. And like by this like as soon as he came in to Push, like when I was writing it, I fell in love with him and I was like, dude, this guy's amazing. Like this is so great. And I was like, literally all I need is like a whisper of somebody to suggest that they might want his story and I will 100% write it. Like I needed only one person to be like, "Hey, what would Tate ever get it?" Yes. Like don't even need to act on it. Like I'm doing it. Um, yeah, it was so much fun. I knew I was gonna love writing him, and I definitely did. He's one of those like sort of Avi types where it's just like so fun to write them because they just don't give a fuck, and it's just they just do what they want, and they're like, you know, f you. Like I'm gonna push your buttons. I'm gonna like you know do whatever is most fun for me, and like bonus points if it like gets you to pay attention to me.
Um, ooh, my favorite question. If For the Fans was adapted into a movie, who would you dream cast for the main couple?
I saw the face.
I know, because I felt like people ask me this all the time, and I'm like, I don't. One, the thing that always happens to me is I forget the names of actors as soon as someone asks me this question. Like, I have actors that I love, and I can't remember any of their names right now. Like, I just have no idea who anybody is. But also, I'm like, I feel because I've thought a lot about this because, like, my ultimate dream in life is to like have one of my books turned into like a movie or a TV show or something, and I
This is gonna be good.
think it would be so amazing. So, but I don't know of anyone in particular that I know of now that like would be Kyron Navi. I almost feel like it would need to be like maybe some obscure like new name or something, like some hidden gem or something, like you know, but I will say that one actor I who I do love and find adorable is Austin Butler. I really like him a lot.
Yes.
And he's super talented too. So I feel like he could give Kyron vibes for sure. Um, but yeah, like whoever would play Avi, it would need to be someone like really, like they would need to capture that shit. I was like thinking about this for the Alabaster Pen series, and I like was thinking of like I don't know if anyone like if you know Ren from like you know of Fragments, but he's from the Alabaster Pen world. I for him I like already have the person picked out. You do you know Finn Wittrock? He's in like the American Horror Story seasons. He's like this guy with like black hair. He usually plays like kind of a like sort of a guy who's like morally questionable or whatever, but he plays it so well and he has like this like sort of like way about him that I was like, "Oh my god, that's Ren." So like in certain situations I'm like, I have someone picked out already. But, like, believe you me, if this ever were to happen, like, I'm gonna be that obnoxious person that, like, has to be involved. Like, I would be, like, sitting on the cast couch, like, I'm gonna be like behind the director's chair, like, excuse me, cut. Like, that's not how that should work. They would totally hate me.
That would be
The
great.
only way it's
Let's
gonna
put
be
it into the universe. It's
yeah,
gonna happen.
exactly. Like, we're manifesting it.
I feel like that's what they should do to, like, really do the books justice, is have the author, because they know the characters in and out, like, the whole thing. And I mean, I get it, like sometimes you can't like put all the scenes in there, but sometimes the scenes that they cut out are the important ones, like, but wait, those are important, so why are you
Like,
cutting
yeah,
it
it's
out?
like I would definitely need to be, like, involved in the screenwriting process, like, also. The whole thing, start to finish. That's the stipulation, is like, I have to be involved. Like, there's no way it's gonna happen, like, without me being there. So, yeah, so it probably won't happen, like, as easily or as soon because I'm being obnoxious. Like, if I were willing to not be that way, it probably could happen easier, but I don't care, so I'm not going to compromise on that.
So we do need to have like that tech billionaire, so he can just like create the production company for you, and then you can produce your stuff. I mean, we only have to get like either Netflix or Hulu or Amazon to like to just like stream those.
I could do, like, some sort of Kickstarter or something, like, you know what I mean? Like, people make
Let's
movies
do
with
it.
Kickstarter, I know that they do. I've heard of it.
Let's do it.
There
Okay.
is. I think there
I'll
is
donate.
Kickstarter. You know what? Can I be in the backstage? I'll just
Yeah,
like
exactly. Like, you have to do something, like,
I'll volunteer to be like, the coffee runner. I
yeah,
don't
You
care.
know what? No, you
there are
know what I'm
so
gonna
many
say?
jobs that are needed.
We, we could be
You're
the
gonna be the
fluffers.
fluffer. I had a feeling you're gonna say
You knew
fluffer.
I was gonna say that.
Or the one who, like, adjusts their
Well,
little, like, thing that holds, like, the little cup thing they have to wear, like,
Yes,
where it seems like
yeah.
there's
yes, I'll hold
The
it.
thing.
stock.
"Oops,
Yeah.
sorry, cut, it's out of place a little bit, let me just move that."
Whoops, sorry, my hand. No.
Yeah. Or don't they use, some of them use prosthetics? They'll be like, hey, your prosthetics is like, because who's that guy from
Mm.
um he was the actor on White Lotus. He said that he had to use prosthetic to like, because
Wow.
it was full on, but it
Yeah.
wasn't his. It was a prosthetic, but he had to like pick and choose
I
like
always
is
wonder
this.
about I always wonder about that because it's like sometimes, they just like show that shit. They're just like, boo. I watched a movie the other day that, this dude's, he was just out and it was like, it was hard, like a lot of the time too. And I was, and it was actually a gross movie too. It was called, what was it called? It had Cooper, what's his name? Cooper Noak. How do you say his last name? Cooper Koch, I think his name is. The dude who was in that Monsters, Menendez brothers, Murphy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, like, the younger cute one. He was in it, and it was, like it was cute because it was, like, these 2 guys, and one of them actually was, like, his straight best friend who, like, actually, like, admits that he, like, had feelings for him or whatever, and it's, like, really cute. But, like, it wasn't, like, a romantic movie, it was, like, disgusting, it was, like, a horror where they, like, I think it was called Swallowed because they, like, swallowed, like yeah, it was called Swallowed because they had to, like they were, like, transporting these like drugs or whatever, and they were like carrying them like by swallowing them, but it turned out it was just really gross. But if you like gross horror movies where you do get to see dong, I definitely
Dumb.
because the other guy was definitely showing it like a lot. And then like they were even commenting on it how he was like because I guess one of them burst, so he's like feeling like the high of like the drug. And he's like, "Why is your like dick so hard?" And he's like, "I don't know." They're like, "Oh my God, this is hilarious." Very entertaining.
Yeah. Let's look into
Theo
that.
James, that's who it was. I think it was like I saw an interview because they asked him. It's like, so was it really you? Because this was a question, and it was, and it wasn't. And I saw the clip of it. It wasn't like long. It was just like really quick, but it was there. And he was just like, no, actually, it was like a prosthetic. I actually had to like try it on, make sure the collar is the same. And I was like, this is
That's
like
so funny.
weird.
That
That's
reminds me of
wild.
that
There are
episode of
movies where they
Friends.
do it.
That
Mm.
episode of Friends where Joey has to put like the fake like foreskin on him because like he tells them that he's uncircumcised, but he's really not. And they're like making fun of
Oh yes.
me and like silly putty.
Freaking Joey.
So yeah, there
Got
definitely
to
could be
drink more
many,
boring.
many jobs available of behind the scenes of making this movie. The only thing fans is like the only thing I'd worry about is that like I mean like a huge part of the premise is like the sex, you know? So it's like I don't know how you would make a movie like kind of like fading to black any of that stuff or something like it's gonna be or it would just need to have like really aggressive like sex scenes like you know like just like going hard which is what I would prefer. But, you know, other people aren't the same as me, so I don't know.
360
365 made it. Yeah.
maybe, yeah.
Actually, that's true, yes, and that was very graphic. Mhm.
I was surprised. I was like, when I heard it, I was like, oh, let's go watch this. It was like from a book. It's kind of like 50 Shades, and I was like, oh, it surpassed 50 Shades.
Yeah,
I was
it
just
was
like,
really all just,
Netflix,
like, smut
right?
sex scenes, like,
Yeah.
I wasn't following anything else that was going on, I was just like, "Oh, shit."
Bears.
Well, part two pretty much was like a montage of sex scenes. It's like a music video of sex scenes. I was like, is this even a story anymore? We're just like
Who cares?
watching
I love that.
everybody have sex. So
I
I was
do
just
love
like,
that.
okay. I mean,
Funny,
it wasn't
yeah.
entertaining. I was surprised though by Netflix because I was like, I wasn't that expecting
I
that.
know.
Yeah. I know, it's almost
So
like maybe because it's like, you know, it technically was foreign or something. I think it was from like maybe Poland or somewhere like that. You always think that like the United States has like the most like, you know, like open, like we're the ones who, oh, we don't like shy away from anything. It's like that is not true. Other countries are so much more like progressive than we are at this point. So it's like I'd be afraid. That's what I would be like, okay, like we need to do this film justice and make sure that we're getting enough sex scenes and
You'd
yeah.
have to do it overseas then.
yeah, maybe we could do that.
Travel.
Travel. I mean, I'll get a visa. I'll working visa as long as
Actually,
I
yeah,
don't.
a lot of movies and stuff film in Canada, so you just go to Canada and be like, "We're doing this here." Get past all the rules.
Kickstarter. I'm volunteering. I don't care what. Like, I will volunteer for anything.
Yeah, we've got a plan.
Mm.
Oh my gosh. Um. Oh well, this kind of piggybacks over after what we were talking about. Which scene would you think would be especially powerful to play out on screen?
Um, Yeah, like, oh man, so much of this movie would be really powerful. I think, you know, I mean, I don't want to keep saying the emotional parts over and over again, but I really feel like it is like those like emotional like trauma parts. Like it would just be so like, you know, with Kyron, like when Kyron and Avi, like, you know, when Kyron knows that Avi found out, you know, all that. And then that whole part leading into Kyron like confronting his parents and stuff. Like it's just like so I'm a real movie and TV buff. Like I love movies and TV shows and I also am extremely like fascinated by the whole like process, you know, by actors and you know the whole direction and production process. Like I really am interested in it from start to finish. So like a lot of that like goes into my writing. So like a lot of times like when I am writing stuff, especially when there's like monologues like that, like with Kyron like, you know, telling off his parents like that, like I hear that like and sort of see it, but more hear it than anything, like in my head, like as if it was a movie, like as if this is a scene that an actor who just so happens to be somebody that I created in my head is like saying out that like he's saying this and that's why I like my dialogue to be super like conversational. Like it's like the way I write dialogue for my characters is the way I speak or how, you know, I think they speak or how people speak. Like, you know, it's not ever going to be robotic. I like for it to be. And I think I've found that that like plays really well with like the audio thing too, which, you know, wasn't a goal in the beginning, but now that I've started to do audio, it's like I really find the dialogue to like work really well, especially with some of these narrators who are so talented. Like they capture it exactly the way I wanted it to sound. And it's kind of amazing. But yeah, that like part specifically, like I can picture, you know, I mean, I don't know who I'm picturing someone that doesn't exist, but it's like I can picture this person who's Kyron, like acting out like this scene of like telling off his parents, and it's very like powerful. Um, yeah, I think that would be really good. And then also just like maybe one of the scenes, um, like maybe the scene when Kyron when Avi comes to find Kyron when he's like walking on Christmas Eve or whatever it is, and he brings him his coat or whatever, just like emotional and like sweet, like one of those sweet like scenes that would just be so nice to like see. Like it would just like make you like warm and be like kicking your feet and stuff because it would just be so nice.
Yeah.
And like we kind of like touched on earlier, it was definitely like a good balance of smut. Like, and the smut was like, I was like, oh, 5 star, over 5 stars. Like I have, like I've been reading a lot, but like I was like thinking to myself, like I haven't like really read a book in a while where the spicy scenes were like just hits right, and they're like super spicy, but also equal parts plot and emotional, where it's just like this is perfect. Like I'm enjoying it, you
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
Um,
Yeah, I really like for them to be I mean, I like to write my sex scenes very involved, and over the years, they've gotten longer. It's now to the point where, like, some of them are just so long. It's like this still going on. Like, there was one in Trouble, speaking of the book Trouble, where I mean, I swear, like, in the audiobook, this was like a had to have been like a half an hour that this guy was reading, like maybe 45 minutes, like, of just this one sex scene that I was like, and the narrator, his name is Christian Leatherman, like, he's so talented. And I was just like, "Oh my god," like, after I heard it and stuff, I was like, I feel like I need to, like, give you something, like a gift basket or something." Like, that was a really long like, did you need, like, water or something? Like, do you need me to send you tea? Like, it was so involved that he was just going forever, but it's like, yeah, I like for them to be very, like, you know, detailed. You to feel like it's really, like, you're part of it, like, it's happening.
yeah, I mean that threesome that they were just like a trial run. I was just like, are you guys even paying attention to the girl, or is just like you guys
Right, right.
like
No.
you're just competing at this point?
I know, that's
Yeah.
why I love when readers, like, because well, not readers, like, per se, but, like, I've seen in, reviews or I've seen people, like, complain, but, like, "Oh, I don't like, when there's, like, action with a female, like, in my, like, MM or whatever," and I'm like, "If you think that that had anything to do with her, like, I don't know what to tell
Yeah,
you."
no.
But
I
literally,
mean,
she was, like, the poor Frankie, like, but she was not there, like, at all. Like,
right.
No.
I mean,
she
she's
made all
enjoying it. Like
She
Mhm.
she
got
got the
hers, but
benefit. She
Yeah,
got the
yeah.
benefit, but like them two are just like,
Mhm.
oh,
But it's just
like
like
because you can hear it.
to me, I feel like it was such an important part too because like they needed that first step to like bring
yeah.
them
Mhm.
together into doing this because with how like straight Kyron is and how like how much they hate each other and stuff. There's no way they would have been able to just dive into.
Right.
No.
Can
It wouldn't have
you?
been
Why
believable.
are you? Hold on. Go away. My partner's like banging on the door. Go away. I'm doing something. No, thank you.
We're keeping
We
that
want
in.
Do you
we're
want
keeping it
noodles?
in.
Noodles. No, I don't want
Who
and that's
wants
not even what
noodles?
it's called. It's called freaking what is it called? Ramen noodles?
Ramen, yeah.
Ramen. Yeah.
Well, he
Who
calls
wants
it
noodles?
noodles.
That was
We
the
all
cup.
want ramen at this point.
I don't do that. I haven't eaten that in years. But yeah, it's yeah, that was definitely a scene where it's like that's the only way that they're going to like get to that
Mhm.
next point, like
Right.
they're and even like the next scene with just the two of them after that, which is like the jerk off scene or whatever, where they're both like they're finally like doing it together, like alone.
Mhm.
Like even that was just like they would never have been able to just dive right into that. Like there had to be something first that was like guiding them to it. And especially also the thing is like them with Frankie is what like really gets like Avi's fans like going hard for like, my goodness, like the two of you like need to ditch her and just like make your own own content. And they were just like rabid over it. So yeah, it was very important and it's a great scene. It was fun to write.
That would be interesting too, to like, whenever it becomes a movie, that would, because the main characters, whoever the actors would be, has to show that like nobody like she's just pretty much a prop over there, and it's
Yeah,
Right.
basically about them.
exactly.
Like that would be be hard to like difficult. I feel like that would be challenging to like portray because we, you know, when we read it or hear it on audio, we could tell it's about Kyron and Abby,
Yeah.
but on screen, that would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be a really interesting scene to see for sure. Like them just like really just like being like locking horns and just being like, with Avi like just pushing his buttons and being like, nah, oops, I like licked you by accident or like whatever. Like, it's just like so good.
Mm. Yeah, because I mean, even then, like after that, like Kyron bolted and just
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
and
Like,
Abby was like,
Thanks.
"Well,
Bye.
I don't,
Send me my
yeah,
money.
right. I don't even know if this is gonna happen the next time," kind of thing. Um,
yeah. That was fun.
so we need to make it happen because this would be a lot
I
of
mean,
like
we're
good.
really like, if everybody puts their like thoughts into the universe, like if everyone who wants it like manifests it, like I feel like it should happen. So like we just have to keep going hard.
But all joking aside, I think we need this. I mean, there wouldn't be any other movies out there like this. We need to change from the plain old, and I'm not knocking like heterosexual relationships, not at all. But like, we need something a little different with some emotion. Yeah, I think.
Yeah. And you know what? There are like, so because I've looked for gay male, romance dramas or whatever. And there are some, but you want to know what? So many of them are from other countries. A lot of them are Spanish. Or, like, yeah, I've seen a lot of Spanish ones. I think a couple, like, maybe Italian or, like, a few other but they're, like yeah, if you go on, like, Amazon Prime and you, like, search in that category and, like, find stuff, so many of them are, like, foreign films, which is just like, "What's up, United States?" Like, "What the fuck, man?" Like, we need it too.
A couple years ago, they tried to do something like kind of like showing, like everybody falling in love, like different people and with their sexuality. But I don't think I think they made it more like almost it felt almost like a comedy, so I think it didn't
Yeah.
work out as
Yeah,
well.
Yeah.
that's true.
Okay.
There have been some like yeah, exactly. They're usually comedy or like rom-coms or something too. Um, what was the other one? Oh yeah, there's the Red, White, and Royal Blue movie. So there's that. I actually haven't watched that, but that's very much
International, right?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
it's like UK
if
kind of thing. Yeah, so yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right.
Mhm.
yeah, I
Yes.
think
The only thing I can think of that's, like, even remotely like, similar, but I'm pretty sure it's very much like, Fade to Black, like, they don't actually show, like, any type of sex scene thing, and I know that, like, again, like, I don't know if you guys have ever watched the show Elite on Netflix, but Elite is a show that has a lot of I mean, people like it because of that reason. There's a ton of like, same-sex couple representation and lots of like it's pretty much like a soap opera. It's extremely like over the top drama. But they do like show a lot of sex scenes and stuff. They show a lot of like gay sex scenes and lesbian sex scenes and like all kinds of stuff. But again, that's a Spanish show. It was made, I'm pretty sure, so, but it is on Netflix, like, to watch, and I think they have, like, 7 or 8 seasons or something at this point. It's really good. I stopped watching it after one of the characters I really liked, like, left, but yeah, there is, like, a lot of, like that was a good that's, like, something that I'm like, "Hey, if this is, like, super popular here in the States, like, we need to make our own thing."
right.
It's like,
Absolutely.
what's
Yeah,
the problem?
You're going to pave the way.
right. I
Yeah.
think like what was it that hunting wives, hunting something like that that series, but like they have it more like the girl on woman and woman kind of thing, but they're like cheating on their spouses kind of thing. So it's not like
And there are definitely I feel like a lot of like sapphic things coming out and stuff. So it's like, if hey, if we can, have sapphic romance and, sexual relationships be shown, I'm sure we can manage to have gay male ones as well.
Yep.
Mhm.
um. So besides the plan for movie plan that we're like planning, do you have right? We're going hard with this. Um, any other plans in the future, like as far as new releases, special editions, or signing events?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's so much going on. I feel like even when I'm like not doing things, there's still always so much going on. So I have a lot of events scheduled for so like I'm actually going to Vegas in about 2 weeks. I'm doing Love in Vegas and then I will be going to Orlando, Florida in December to the New Romantics bookstore to do a nice little signing thing over there. So that's going to be fun. So yeah, all of my events are always on my website. There's like an events page or whatever, so you can see everything. Because I have a lot scheduled for next year too. I think I'm going to Philly. I'll be in Boston and up here in Maine, obviously. I'm going to Dallas. I'm going to Texas twice, Dallas and San Antonio. So yeah, a lot going on with events. And then with special editions, so, well, I'll say first, so my plan is to release, I don't know, it most likely will be my next release because I'm writing really slow right now. So I have the plan to finish and wrap up the Alabaster Penitentiary series with its sixth and final book, which will be called Ivory, and that's coming out on March 18th. And so that's the finale of this crazy, wild, fucking bonkers series. And I've been waiting so hard to get to this one. Like I am so excited. I mean, I'm gonna be sad that the series will be ending because it's actually coming out on the 5-year anniversary of Distorted releasing. Yeah, so it's like coming full circle, like 5 years. Wow, that's crazy. But so I do have plans to do a nice big special edition like type of thing with those when they come out. I don't know if I'm going to do individuals. I had originally planned on doing like a sort of series box set thing where I did like volumes 1 through 3 and then 4, 5, 6. But since they're so long, I just don't think that that's going to happen. So I would have to do probably like 2, 2, and 2 or something. But we'll see. Either way, I'm definitely going to do some fancy shit with that. And then I have probably coming up before that. I have been working on a special edition of For the Fans for quite some time. I swear to God, I've been working on this thing for like 3 years. I think I've been working on it like since the book came out. It's been like, and I had my heart set on like a certain thing for a while. It wasn't really working out, so I went a different way. But we're like always working on it. It's like kind of been like my side project. And normally the publisher wouldn't allow such things because they own print rights. So they don't typically like allow you to do that. But since I've been working on it for so long, they're allowing me to sell this like, as kind of like an exclusive. It's like sort of an event or Patreon exclusive, but like there'll be ways for people to get it. But so that is very cool because that's going to be like a hardcover, like sprayed edges, all the pretty stuff, like artwork inside. Like it's just gonna be so, so fun and cool. So definitely like, follow me for information on that. And then I'm also changing or updating the cover for my holiday novella. I have an taboo holiday novella called Unwrap Him, which is like a adoptive father son type thing. And it's like super spicy and super like hot. It's like sweet and spicy novella. Um, and so coming this probably December, I'm doing a new cover for it. So it's getting a new cover and we're doing an audiobook for it. And so there will
Nice.
be that. And starring a couple of my favorite narrators, Christian Leatherman and Harley Chase, who I think are going to do fantastic jobs on this. So that's going to be fun. So there's like some cool stuff. Even though I have like these other projects that I've had to like unfortunately like keep pushing off because of my burnout and all this stuff, I still have like always lots of stuff going on, which is good. Like I can fulfill myself through that. Even though I'm releasing things slower than I used to. Hmm.
I feel like audiobook would be like almost like a full-time thing besides just writing because you have to review and
It is. Yeah, it's very involved. And this is actually one, so I'm self-producing this too, like with a friend of mine who like, because I don't, know the whole like editing and recording process and stuff. But yeah, we're doing a self-produce on this one, which is going to be really fun. I just like doing that. It's more expensive because, you pay for everything up front and what have you, but I really like doing it. And then also, so Shadow Man, which is the last book in the AP series that just came out like a month ago, that one's audiobook is coming out probably by November. They're still working on it. It should be out by November. And then I'm trying to plan because like I'm trying to actually get my crap together here and like have audiobooks like sort of like being worked on by the time the book comes out, because it's like I've like had times where we've had to wait like a year or something for the audiobook to come out because I wasn't prepared, and then all kinds of stuff happens. So this time I'm actually like scheduling things and planning it. So if Ivory comes out in March, I'm hoping that the audiobook can come out like shortly after, like, by April or May. But the thing with this one though is that all of the previous narrators are coming back. Not all of them, that would be insane. But a lot of the previous narrators from the previous books are going to be coming back for this one, which is like going to be so fun. Oh my goodness. There's going to be
Nice.
narrators. It's going to be like 10 narrators.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy. That's going to be a
It will
blast.
be really multicast, like
Right.
full on, like huge cast. But those are one of the best ones too, because you're just like, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot, that narrator was that one. So.
It's going to be so fun. I love it.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to the end of the episode. It was such a pleasure to have you. You are so much fun. Love your energy. And congratulations again on your re-release of For the Fans.
Yay. Thank you. I know it's been so much fun hanging out with you guys and chatting. Thank you so much for having me. And everybody go to your favorite retailer and grab For the Fans because it's out there in the world now.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. We had so much fun, and we can't wait to see, what's you're
Mhm.
going to bring us next.
Yep, definitely. Lots going on.
And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to Unfiltered Romance Nights so you never miss an interview or a book chat. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Unfiltered Romance Nights Podcast. You can DM us if there's an author you'd love to see on the podcast or a topic you'd like us to discuss. Well, that's all. See you next time.